Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a re-review of the Dunu Titan S, and to go from there. It's been quite some time since I've last reviewed this, and I'm glad to actually give it a shot. Okay, so there's going to be some notes on the screen. Please note that whatever is in the notes is a little bit different from the video. Okay, cool. So, let's get right into it. What does this IEM sound like to me? This sounds neutral. Like, to me, this is my notion of neutral. And I understand that everyone has different standards of neutral, so I'll kind of give you my 2 cents and to go from there. People will say that the truthier hexa is neutral. To me, the hexa is bright. It's not neutral. People will say that the truthier pure is neutral. No, it's warm, to me. So what is in between these two? It's this IEM. So let me kind of explain a couple things, right? So to me, hexa is bright. Truthier pure is kind of a little bit warmish. And then people will say, oh, what about etymonics? No, etymonic is not really neutral to me. It sounds really bright and a little lean on the bass. It's not exactly, I would say, what I would call neutral. So my neutral is right here. So to me, people will say the orchestra light is pretty U-shaped, but to me, it sounds pretty neutral. Like, it seems pretty even keeled. The Software Studio 4, people will be like, that's not neutral. That's not neutral at all. I'm like, it sounds neutral to me. You know what I mean? So I put it in this box where when I listen to the Dunu Titan S, it doesn't sound bright, but it doesn't sound warm. It just sounds like it's smack dab right in the middle. And that's kind of how it sounds like to me. All right, so for the bass, I'm going to go ahead and give it a grade of B. I was actually pretty surprised. I was actually expecting this to be like the really weak sauce lean bass, and I was listening to it, I'm like, no, that's good. I actually like this bass. It's actually pretty good. Now, it's not super aggressive. This is kind of along the lines of like Tantrum Origin. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, but it's actually pretty good. You know, I would give it a good grade of B. In terms of sub bass, so I won't make you stay. So I would actually say it's somewhere between correct and below correct. I would definitely not say it needs more. Like, I would definitely say having a little bit more sub bass could help. You know what I mean? But I would say it's between correct and below correct. For female vocals, you never try to see behind my smile. And this actually what kind of shocked me about it. It's actually pretty good. Like, I would say I have low confidence in calling it A, but I have high confidence calling it a B. But I think I could comfortably say it's between a B and an A. It's between a B and an A for female vocals. They're really well done. I was actually genuinely surprised at how good they sound. They don't sound thin. They don't sound synthetic. They don't sound plasticky. It sounds actually pretty natural. But the only reason I'm not saying it's a clean grade of A is I don't know if this beats some of the IEMs I said were A. You know, like I said, Cranial Reference was A. Well, this is a little step below that. I said Dunu Kima 2 was A. Well, this is a step below that. But at the same time, it is better than many B, like, IEMs I've listed as B. Like, this sounds better, as I said in my older video. This does actually sound better than Hexa. Like, this actually does, the vocals do sound better than Hexa. So if Hexa was a B, okay, and Cranial Reference is an A, then I don't know where the hell to put it because it's better than that, but not quite as good as that. So I'm going to say between a B and an A. Okay, next thing, let's go ahead and talk male vocals. Male vocals, I'm going to go ahead and give it a grade of B, as in it's pretty good. But I had difficulty actually giving this a grade, and I'll tell you why. You know what this sounds like? This sounds exactly like me. Like, when I was actually monitoring with my own voice on this, I was like, holy crap, that sounds exactly like me. So I am going to put a sticker here called reference, because when I listen through to my voice, it sounds like me. Now, I want to be careful here because I'm starting to understand this now. I didn't understand this later. When I say it sounds like me, I want you to understand it sounds like that to my ears. It may not be the same for you, where when you listen to it, you may be like, this doesn't sound anything like me. You know what I mean? Like if you have a microphone, like you grab an NT1 microphone and you listen to it, you're going to be like, maybe that doesn't, you know, what I am saying is for my ears, when I listen to it, this sounds freaking exactly like me. And so, and I noticed when I was listening to, when I was listening to Justin and then when I was listening to Chris, I'm like, it doesn't color their voice. They just sound the way they sound. How do you grade that? I mean, how do you grade that? You know what I mean? So, I said, well, I guess I'll just give it a B because I can't say it sounds great, but I can't say it sounds average. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it was hard for me to grade. It's a similar problem I had with Crin-Ear Daybreak, where the guy vocals actually sound like they sound. So how do you grade that? You know what I mean? But that just goes to show, like, these are pretty neutral. Like, I was like, holy cow, that's actually, you know what I mean? At least my notion of neutral. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Soundstage. So Soundstage sounded actually decent, you know, and in terms of, I would say, separation, it was actually like when all the instruments and everything were, it was kind of It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was just kind of like, you know, when there's vocals coming in and their beats coming in, everything, it doesn't sound muddled, but it was okay, like average, run of the mill. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about instrument harshness. So I think this is probably its only Achilles heel, and it's not even an Achilles heel. So what happened was, you know, when there's some harsh instruments playing in the background, I did have to lower the volume two times. So that is something to note, where I dropped it once, and then I dropped it again, and then after that, it was smooth sailing after that. So it only took 2 times. The next thing I want to talk about is vocal sibilance.
Time can be found in Season 7, Episode 6 of Seinfeld.
So vocal sibilance is basically where the vocals are really harsh, like tss, tss, tss. This is the most insane set of scores I've ever seen on an IEM. Like, it is straight 0. Like, basically at regular volume, 0. And then at higher volume cranked, 0. Edward Smith was 0. Mariah Carey was, you are going to get 0 vocal sibilance on this thing. So that's crazy. I've never seen that before. Well, no, I have, but only on certain IEMs. This is crazy. 0. So, that's just amazing. So if you are ever looking for, but it also does raise a question, like who actually would, well, I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting IEM, you know, because it sounds just like you. It is pretty neutral, but there's like 0 sibilance on here. You know what I mean? It's a, you know, I could see honestly how this is hard to sell because it's like, who is this for? Because it's kind of like, it's not like super fun, like Defiant. You know what I mean? And it's not like bass wise. It's not like a bass head IEM. It's not a treble beast. You know, it's not the best at vocals. They just sound accurate. But at the same time, it's not entirely accurate because when recordings are supposed to be bad, it kind of smooths them over a little bit. It's like, oh, it doesn't sound so bad anymore. You know what I mean? So it's almost like if you wanted an accurate IEM where all of these sibilance was rounded out, then you would get this, which makes me think, who would buy this? Because I don't think enjoyers would want to buy this, but then I also think mixing folks wouldn't want to buy this. Like, who is this for?